Hey, what's up everyone? Adam here with brahwegotthis, and today I want to help you understand ESO's Overland or Overworld, as some players may call it in the game. This has got to be one of ESO's most overwhelming things when you first start out in the game. Players are just usually shown a map, and they might not know what icons mean, what different areas are about, or how to traverse and get to each area. And lastly, you might just not even know flat out how the ESO Overland works. So today my goal is to help you feel less overwhelmed and understand how the ESO Overland plays a big part in the overall game as a whole. Real quick, I want to give a big shout out to all the patrons. Thank you so much for all the support. Thank you so much, you all. If you'd like to become a patron, check out the link below in the description. You get your name up here in the video and much more. You can always watch me play live as well on twitch.tv/brahwegotthis, and you can join our helpful Discord and check out our website at brahwegotthis.com. All the links below are in the description. So if you aren't familiar with my beginner series, this is episode 7 of that series. In this series, I've created a fresh character on the EU server, and I am leveling from 1 to CP 160. Through that, I go through each task and decision that I make with you all, so you get a very detailed step-by-step process of how I would play the game as a beginner today. In these videos, I also try to teach lessons and have a theme of each video, and today's theme is the Overland. As the video plays, you'll see my Dark Elf Nightblade leveling and doing various things throughout the Overland. ESO's Overland or Overworld is the life of the game. This is where 99% of your time will be spent as a new player for the most part. And if you include dungeons and trials being part of the Overland, since they're technically in the Overland, this is where 99% of you, even if you're a veteran, will spend the most playtime in ESO. But either way, this is where the meat of the content that you will encounter in ESO will be. And so I want to go through with you 5 tips encompassing the Overland. Number 1 is the zones and how they scale. Back when 110 Rail dropped, ESO ditched the classic MMO zone style and went to an every zone scales type of game. So for instance, in other MMO zones or Overland, they have certain level ranges like 1 to 25, 25 to 50, CP 10 to CP 50. ESO used to be like this, but they completely changed this, and it honestly revived the game in my opinion. It made zones less dead feeling, and it just gave everything relevance. So now every single zone that you go through or go into is scaled to your level, no matter if you are in a party with someone who is way over your level or if you're level 5. Something else they did is allow you to play any zone at any time, which I will go into here in a little bit, but essentially each zone and each zone's enemies will scale with you no matter which zone you go into. This allows there to never be any irrelevant zone story, side quest, or Overland content ever in the game. This is also very nice because when you turn in a quest, that XP is also scaled to your level. But I do want to mention that in the expansion zones or the expansion Overland zones, those world bosses and things like that usually are more difficult than your base game content, which I will go into a little later. But what this ends up doing is, even though everything is scaled, you can pick whichever zone you want to do. This ends up being very overwhelming for a lot of players because they are thrusted into a world with a zillion places to go and zillion places to play through, and they really don't know where to even begin. When I came back to ESO, I felt the exact same way, but this will lead me now to number 2 on my tips, and this is traversing the Overland. So I'm going to get to the icons here in a few, but what I want to explain is how to know which zone to start in or how to get to a different Overland zone. Essentially, when you start out in ESO, you will go through a new revamped tutorial. At the end of the tutorial, you'll be able to pick a portal that allows you to know which zone to start in. Again, this is a great tutorial, but it leaves players still feeling overwhelmed. My best advice to you is to play through a base game zone first. This will allow you to start at a zone that may be less convoluted with newer features. If you're wondering what portals those would be, it would be the Knarthi's Roost portal, which will start you on the Aldemary Dominion zone quest. So Knarthi's Roost is right here. Then you have the Stros Mackay portal, which will start you on the Daggerfall Covenant quest line. And then you have the Balfoyen which will start you in the Ebonheart Pact questline. I like to start in the zone for the most part, usually that my faction is in, except for this Dark Elf. I'm doing the Aldermary Dominion questline just because I like it. So once you get into these zones, how do you get to the other Overland zones? Because you're like, Adam, you told us we can play any zone we want to. So how do I get to these places? And so I'm going to show you a few methods. The first one is the most basic one. This is traveling to a player. If you are in a guild or have friends, if they are in a zone, you can right click their name. So if I go to my guild tab, the roster, and I go to this person and I right click, you can travel to player. Right now they're in Bleak Rock Isle. So what that will do is that will teleport me to the closest way shrine that they are near in Bleak Rock Isle. This is a great way to get around when starting out, and it's the simplest way. The next way is the way shrine system, just going through the way shrine system. So when you start out, you will automatically have a starting way shrine in every zone cluster. So what I mean by that is for the Aldermary Dominion, you will have one way shrine. So you see, I've went through some stuff here, but the Aldermary Dominion are these 5 zones. You will start off with the Vocal Guard way shrine. For Ebonheart Pact, you're going to start out with one way shrine in Davin's Watch. For Daggerfall, you'll start out with one way shrine. So you will not have way shrines in any of the other 5 base or other 4 base zones when you start out. Now, if you have expansions or DLC or ESO Plus, you're going to have one way shrine in each of those zones. You'll see here Markarth or the Reach, Craglorn, Rothgar, we got Gold, what's it called? Abba's Landing there, Gold Coast here. That allows you to travel between way shrines. So if I wanted to, I could go to my Aldermary Dominion way shrine right here and travel for free to Daggerfall Covenant. Now, if I just click it now, it's going to cost me 99 gold, because if you're not at a way shrine, it will end up costing gold. And the more you do that over time, to a certain amount of time, it will scale and cost more gold. This is a great way to get to multiple zones at once. All you need to do, again, is just travel to those via the way shrine system. Now, you're wondering, like, okay, so how do I get to these other zones then, Adam? You know, why can't I go to Alakir Desert? Well, that's not true. So the last way is actually going through manually through zones by running or riding, or going through the boat or the cart system. So what I want to show you is in every single one of those starting zones, like you got Ardon and Vocal Guard there, you got Glenumbra over here, and you got Stonefalls. Every single one of those starting zones are going to have a dock or a caravan system. So if you look here and you hover over the anchor icon, you can go to multiple zones by traveling on boat. This goes to Gold Coast, Canarthy's Roost, Murkmire, and then right here you'll see Daggerfall. Then right here you'll see Grotwood and Reaper's March, okay? So Grotwood is right here and Reaper's March is up there, okay? So when you actually get into these zones, you can find that there are caravans, and these caravans can take you to other places. So you'll see Malabator right there, okay? Malabator is another zone here in the Aldermary Dominion. This is the same for every single zone, okay? So if you're in the Daggerfall Covenant and you go to Glenumbra, your dock is right here. Look, so right here you can go to Ardon, Stonefalls, Stormhaven, or Bankerai. Stormhaven and Bankerai are other zones in the Daggerfall Covenant. Here's Stormhaven, here's Bankerai. Again, there's going to be a dock right there, and this can go to Alakir Desert or Glenumbra. So you can then go to the desert here, Alakir Desert. So that is another way to travel to the inner zones during the base game. Like a lot of times, like I said, you can just go to the expansion zones by just going to your one way shrine. But if you want to get into the zones in the base game, all you got to do is use those caravan or boat systems. It's really, really simple. So now I've been kind of showing you some icons, and you're probably feeling a little overwhelmed. So let's go through tip number 3, which is icons and what they mean. So I'm going to show you guys this, and I always go through this with all my beginner guides because it's very important, and it's something that really, in my opinion, helps you understand how the Overland works. Because if you don't know what these icons mean, it doesn't really help. Okay, so we already went through what way shrines look like. They're these little shrines. But the other thing that you need to understand is what these black icons mean and white icons. Black means that you have not completed the quest or a boss or instance at that location. The white icon means you have completed the quest or instance or boss at that location, okay? So you're gonna see other little icons in here. These are add-ons, but what I wanna focus on mainly is the base icons that come with every form of the game, no matter if you're on console or PC. So again, these shrines, they're way shrines. This is how you get through the system quicker, all right? Now, you have these castle icons. Castle icons are main city hubs. These are where you're gonna find a lot of your main quests. You're gonna find and those quests usually give you skill points, and you're just gonna find a lot of different things. Guild traders, banks, crafting tables, all sorts of things, right? Guilds, fighters guild, mages guild, all that stuff, right? These are your main city hubs. Now, when they go white, again, that means you have completed the quest, right? Now, if you see little town icons, these little ruin icons, these castle looking icons, or the like little icons like the chess icon, I can't remember what is it, rook? I think it might be rook, I can't remember. You see that icon. These are usually quest hubs, okay? And as you see, it says right here, Mathiasen, you defeated the Veiled Inheritance in Mathiasen. So I've done the quest in Mathiasen, right? So those are what these icons are. They will turn white once you do the quest, all right? Now, these eyes, these are points of interest. This is just like a place that's just like a unique place. Once you reach it, it will complete it, and it will give you XP, and it will go towards your achievements, because there are achievements for finding these. These icons right here are dolmens. These are public events in all the base game of ESO. There's 3 dolmens in every single base game zone. So you're gonna have a total of 1 million basically. But these are just great experience. They give jewelry and all sorts of things as well. These kind of icons right here, these are Mundus stones, these little like pointed things, okay? The camp looking icons, this little like campfire, these are crafting sets, okay? What crafting sets do, there's usually 3 crafting sets in each zone, okay? 1, 2, 3, okay? These require traits to be researched. I have a bunch of guides on this in the channel, but basically these are where you can craft just crafted sets in that zone. So this one is Death's Wind. Next to some of the most important icons, all right, world bosses. World bosses are the skull and the sword crossed icon. There are 6 world bosses in every base game zone. So you're gonna have 6, 12, 18, 24, 30 in just Automated Dominion, then Daggerfall Covenant, then Evermore Pact, and there's usually 6 in every major expansion zone and 2 in smaller zones. What these do are, these are group bosses. They typically need to have more than 1 person. Sometimes you can solo these if you're good enough at the game and if you're more experienced, but these will drop specific loot to the zone, and once you complete them, it will be crossed out, and you can still go back and kill them if you want to. Then you have delves. Delves are like mini dungeons, but they're not essentially that hard. These can be soloed pretty easily. They are way less harder than world bosses. These are the torch icon. These will always have a quest in them, and they will always have a sky shard. These little shards like this always will have a sky shard in them, always will have a quest. Always do that because it will get you XP, and they will always have a mini boss that you can kill at the end of the delve. There's 6 of these in every single zone as well. Next, we have public dungeons. It's what this little icon is right here. You can't see it because of the sky shard. Public dungeons are dungeons that can have multiple people in them. You're gonna see other players. These will typically have around 6 bosses in them and a quest attached to it. They will also have a guaranteed skill point that you can earn by doing the multiplayer event. There's always going to be a multiplayer event in them, okay? But these bosses will drop loot, they'll respawn. You can also find crafting materials in these, and it's just fun to do with other players. You can also get cool little mementos from completing these as well. And the next icon I want to go over is dungeons. Dungeons look like this. They're square with the plus. These are 4-man content. Okay, dungeons make up a lot of the end game of ESO. These sometimes have 2 versions, as you see here, Banished Souls 1 and 2. They all have unique quests in each one of them. And when you complete those quests, you get a skill point for the first time. So these are very, very fantastic. They're very fun. And in some zones, you might not see them in any of the base game zones. You'll have trials as well. These are what these icons are. These are raids, 12-man raids. So let's now go to tip number 4, and that is questing. We touched on this briefly, but I want to go a little bit more in depth. First off, since every quest is scaled to your level, that means that you can do any quest line at any time. But if you care about the lore of the zones or questing, there is an order in which you should do it in. There's a great post on the ESO Reddit about the sequence of the story lore. But either way, starting in the base zones won't hurt anything, but in order to do this, you need to know how the questing works in the Overland. So when you start out in a base zone, or any zone really, you will get these icons right here. See these icons? That is a main story quest for the zone, okay? So this is the main story. If you see an icon like this is a side quest in the zone, okay? There are tons of side quests throughout all of the zones, and they are unique. So that is fantastic for this game. And you will see in our zone guide here, we have done 9 out of 12 of the zone quests. Once we complete the zone quests in Ardon, this will lead us to the next Aldemary Dominion zone, and you will basically progress all the way through all 5 zones, okay? Once you complete all 5 zones quests, you will complete the Aldemary Dominion zone quest line. Okay, this will give you massive achievements. This will also give you other things as well. The reason that I believe that ESO has the best questing is because of this. They have so many rich quest lines that are unique. They have the side quests, they have the main quests. It's insane. I think the ESO does have the best questing in any MMO, hands down. But something that you should know with ESO questing, and this is the main point that I want to get at, is you are not locked out of any in-game content or any content by not completing quests, barring maybe an intro quest to like antiquities or something. This is different than a lot of MMOs. A lot of MMOs, you have to complete like a whole expansion quest line before you can get to like the end game gear score content. In ESO, it's not like that at all. You could complete no quests in the Overland and still do a trial and a dungeon, right? You don't have to complete the quest lines to get to the content. If you just power leveled to the end game, you could do all the in-game content. It's not locking you out. Now, my last tip is understanding the item drops in the Overland. This is where a lot of people get tripped up in ESO. So first off, you should know that in each zone, okay, in each Overland zone, there are 3 item sets that are unique to the zone. Okay, you can find these item sets in the item set collection system here. If you go to Ardon, you will see all 3 item sets. One set will be light armor, one set will be heavy armor, and one set will be medium armor. The heavy armor set in Ardon is Veiled Inheritance. The medium armor set is Twin Sisters, and the light armor set is Queen's Elegance. So that means there are a lot of item sets in the game, okay? Now, how do you actually get these item sets? Well, you get them by doing Overland content, okay? You can get these items from questing, doing world bosses, delves, public dungeons, opening chests. You can also get them from doing dolmens, and you can also get them from daily quests in expansion zones. The one place that you cannot get these are dungeons. Dungeons have their own sets that drop, okay? So even if Banished Cells is in the zone, you're never going to get the Overland sets in Banished Cells. You're going to get the Banished Cells dungeon sets, okay? But what a lot of people don't understand is these item sets in the Overland drop from specific activities in the Overland. So I learned this from Outcast and the Elder Scrolls Online Wiki page about 2 years ago. I think it was maybe a year and a half ago, that these items drop from specific things. So I will link Outcast's website below, and the ESO Wiki page as well. But essentially, in these zones, in order to get certain pieces, you have to do certain content. So world bosses will drop head pieces, chest pieces, leg pieces, and weapon pieces of that item set. Delve bosses will drop waist pieces and feet pieces. Public dungeon bosses will drop shoulder pieces, hand pieces, and weapons. Dark anchors or dolmens will drop jewelry. And if there is not a dolmen in the zone that you're doing it in, that will be obtained from chests, trials, or arenas. And then the other thing to note is that you can get unique items from quests in the Overland, from world bosses, from delve bosses, and things like that. When you also do Overland content, you can also just get them as random drops. So this is something, again, that I learned from Outcast and the Elder Scrolls Wiki page, so check out their links below in the description. But this is something that you really need to know about the Overland content, because every single Overland zone has 3 item sets. And so by knowing where to farm those item sets, if you want an item set, you need to go to the correct place. But I do hope that this video and this guide did help you all out. Again, I'm on my beginner series character and we have been progressing through the zone. We're almost at the top of it here. We're like close to level 26, I believe. Yeah, we're close to level 26. But I hope that this video did help. If it did, make sure to leave a like, subscribe, heavy attack that bell icon to stay up to date on all the content in the channel. I really do appreciate it. But if you have any questions, leave a comment below and I will try to answer it as best as possible. And I will see you guys next time on my beginner series episode 8. But again, y'all, this series will keep continuing. But until next time, y'all, just remember to have faith, be great, and I'll see you on ESO.